Okay, so we will shortly have Laura join us. Oh, she is joining as we speak. Hi,
Hello.
Laura.
I'm
Hello.
so sorry. I clicked on the wrong link.
Oh God, don't be silly. No, and I've literally only come on because I like ran for a quick bio break, as our American friends say, and I've got the door open because Django's, who's the cafe in Patch Places where I'm hosting for, are sponsoring me through feeding and giving me coffee. So
Oh,
so there's one's gonna come in. So and then yes. So if you see me slightly distracted, I'd cut 2 cups of tea, but no coffee yet. So how are you, Laura?
I'm okay. How are you? More to the point.
Do you know, I'm very good. I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous yesterday in terms of the tech stuff. I was like conversations and things with people. I'm like, I know there will be just flow but it was more some people virtual, some in, and then some people have music to play. And yeah, that's what was stressing me out. So touch wood, we're 3 hours in already, and it's
Well
been
done. That's
from a tech
amazing.
point of view. So well, without further ado, it would be great. So Laura Willis and I, so we first met, what we were saying, it was back in 2000 it's about 10 years ago, wasn't it, when I was at
Yeah,
some
about
talk,
that. Yeah.
a previous company that Laura and a co-founder had that uh did some work around sort of digital well-being. And I brought Laura in when I was in sort of the HR team to come and speak, and we sort of stayed in touch, but loosely on LinkedIn, as you sort of do. And then we ended up living in the same place, and our children ended up going into the same school and class, which was lovely. And then it was a year ago you moved,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just
Just
over
over
a
a year
year.
ago. Yeah.
And then, yeah, we recently got back in touch because you've started up another business. And yeah, and then we've got you here to talk about sort of, I guess, digital harmony, which is something I think all of us could learn, a thing or two about in terms of, how we use it in a way that is for us rather than,
Yeah.
you know, drives us. So, yeah, so tell us a little bit then about you and what's got you to where you're at now, Laura.
Okay, so about 12 years ago, I was working as a freelance PR marketing consultant. Um, and I had quite a dysfunctional relationship with my inbox anyway. I just loved my email and it drove my day, but there was a lot of adrenaline linked to that. And then I got my smartphone and I put my email on my phone. And then I was just so overwhelmed all the time. And my daughter was quite young and I'd had to go back to work and I was just really overwhelmed and I couldn't stop looking at my phone, my inbox, social media was getting me down. And I hit a really low period and I just wasn't very well mentally. So I started to try and work out what was going on, and I realized that it was the relationship that I had with my phone. So I made a few changes, got a watch so I didn't have to look at my phone as an excuse to check the time all the time, got an alarm clock, took email off my phone, made loads of changes and started to feel better. And then talked to people in my life about it. And my sister, I met her for coffee one Saturday and she was crying and she said she was working for a big agency at the time and she said, I just can't get away from work at the weekends. It's an absolute nightmare. And then we were out for dinner at a friend's house and the husband kept leaving the table to check his phone and it transpired he was checking his work email. So I just had a light bulb moment on a train one morning and was like, everybody around me is on their devices all the time. Are people feeling in control? No. And I started to do some research and felt that there really was a space for someone to go out and start to really talk to people about their digital habits. So that's when Anna and I launched Shine Offline, and we ran the business for nearly 9 years, um, supporting people to understand the relationships they have with their technology and try and make adjustments and start to normalize conversations so that they can use them in a controlled way that, as you say, is enhancing their lives and their work. And we closed Shine Offline, and I've recently relaunched. And as you said, I'm supporting people with their digital harmony. And a lot of my work has been around the workplace piece because people spend their days at work, at their desks, on their laptops, phones are there, they've got Teams, they've got email, they're in meetings all day. And I've been supporting people to understand that and culturally what's going on, psychologically what's going on, and what can you do to try and create a healthier digital culture at work. But now I'm also supporting people to think about their digital harmony at home. And that's quite selfish because my daughter's just started secondary school. So she's got her dumb smartphone. It's not a Nokia, it's a smartphone, but it's very dumb. So selfishly, I wanted to get back into this space around personal habits because
Mm.
I know it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's something that I want to have a reason that I've got to keep up to date with what's going on in the world out there. So I'm starting to help people in that space as well, which is again going really well. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And I think that's yeah, we're not there yet. So my eldest has just turned 9, and then I've got my youngest is 6. But I think it's already, I hear the conversations with parents that have got, children slightly older, in the whole phone. Do they get one? Do they not? Is it an Android? Is it a thing? Do they get access to WhatsApp and all of those sorts of things? So I guess why did you think so many of us are almost yet obsessed and really pulled towards tech and specifically our phones?
Well, it's all happened really quickly. If you think about it, I was watching footage from my wedding, which was only 15 years ago, and people are taking photographs on cameras. So quite
Mm,
quickly, this stuff has become so central to our world. And when it comes to the personal tech, the social media, the news, all the apps that we use to run our lives, they're designed in a way that is very persuasive because the companies who create this technology want us to be on it as much as possible because that's how
mm,
they make money. So I think this is becoming more common knowledge these days that the attention economy, your attention is worth money to these people. The more time you spend on your phone, the more scrolling you do, the more clicking you do, they're making more money. And there's a correlation between the way that technology works and Vegas and the slot machines. Because whenever we go onto our phones, we don't know what's going to come in, if it's going to be good, bad, interesting, who's going to have liked a comment, who's going to have sent us a text, whatever. And it's the slot machine psychology. It's that intermittent reward. We don't know what's going to come in, and that drives our behavior because dopamine is being released in our brains. It's in the reward neurotransmitter. So that dopamine's being released, and we crave dopamine because it makes us feel really good. So especially whenever we're stressed, um, we're having a really busy morning and we're having a coffee break. We want to feel better, and a great way to feel better these days is to get some dopamine by scrolling. So
mm,
that's what's happening. Also, it's very habitual now. We're sort of on autopilot with it because it's so entrenched in everything. This technology is mobile. We can have it with us all the time. And also, we live in this always on world. So we look around us and everybody else is on their phones. So standing in the
mm,
supermarket queue or on the commuter train or waiting to pick the kids up from school, well, everybody's on their phones. So we're sheep. We copy each other. And
mm,
things like FOMO, there is a pressure, like WhatsApp groups for, I don't know, friendship groups, school mums, etc. You don't want to be the only one who's missing out. So that's driving that behavior as well. And behavior creates culture. And that's why we're in this situation that we're in. And this technology is absolutely amazing. And in the work I do, I'm not demonizing it and telling people to chuck it away and go and live in a forest. I'm
yeah,
asking people to really look to their behavior and try and
yeah,
understand their behavior and why they're being persuaded to be on their technology all the time and really consider how do you want to spend your attention? Because where you put your attention is who you are and that defines your life. And by bringing some consciousness to the way we're existing, we can start to really choose how we live and choose where we place our attention and choose how we want our kids to see us if we're parents. I want to model to my children that I'm here and I'm present and I'm listening and you matter to me. I don't want to spend my, okay, sometimes I will be on my phone, but I'll be saying, just give me a minute because I've just got to do this thing and then I'm going to put it away and then I'll be present with you. So
Yeah.
I think recognizing that there is choice and we can make a difference by becoming aware, I think, of what's going on.
Thank you, Laura. And I guess thank you as well for, sharing openly, where this came from for you. And you said, you had a really bad relationship with, with your phone. And I think there'll be, people that are listening live, and listening afterwards, particularly that our parents are very conscious of the phone thing. And it's tricky, isn't it? Because I'm super conscious of it with our two, and this is what I still think back to the talk that you did, because and I'll say to, sorry, because he probably is listening, my husband, I'm always like, get off your phone. And he's like, yeah, but I'm like, he might be ordering a Christmas present or doing something. And I'm like, yeah. And I remember from your thing that, all they're seeing is this is what's most important.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it is hard, isn't it? Because yes, you might be writing the online blooming teacher's card. You might be doing the Tesco shop. You might be checking a work email. You might be responding to. So a lot of it might be towards them, but actually they don't see. So it's silly. Even if I'm like on the sofa, like sometimes I like if I've got something I'm doing, I'll like, and then I find, oh no, I'm like trying to hide it. So I think yes, what I'm trying to say is that I think a lot of people will resonate, and I'll often, sometimes if I've put my phone down, my youngest specifically Isabel, she'll come and be like, oh mummy, you left your phone. So I know, and then I'm like, oh my God, and I'll be like, tiny mummy doesn't need to always have her phone. But clearly that's not what I have been role modeling. So I guess how, what can we do to improve our digital harmony?
Well, I think the first thing to stop that, we live with a phone with us beside us all the time, and something pops into our mind that tells us we need to action something. All those things that you just mentioned that you or your husband might be doing. What I like to encourage people to do is rather than jumping off and on the device all day as your brain reminds you of something that needs to be actioned,
Mm.
getting into a habit of batching your time on your phone.
Mm.
And what I like to recommend people do is get a little pad. So this is my little
Oh,
batch
batch
pad.
pad. I like it.
So what you
Yes.
do is you decide I'm not going to live with my phone in my hand. Like for example, my phone lives in the tea and coffee cupboard and it comes out at intervals throughout the day. So it's not like I'm not on my phone, but
Yeah.
it's out of my way. So
Yeah.
starting to think about having it out of your way, not in your hand all of the time, but have this pad handy. And when something this time of year in particular, the lead
Yeah.
up to Christmas, oh my God, there's so much to do. Write it on the pad. And then it means that rather than jumping on and off your phone, because every time you go on the phone, you're also going to end up in a rabbit hole because other
Yeah.
notifications will be there or
Yeah.
something else will be reminded, or you just fancy having a little look on the news app or whatever. So start writing stuff on your pad and then action those things at intervals in the day. Schedule when you go on and try and make that a new habit. And then that means that you're being really efficient with your time and really efficient with your phone. And you can talk to your kids about that. Because,
Yeah.
for me, I've been trying to demonstrate my healthy phone behavior for my daughter, who's now got her own phone. And it's standard practice in our house that the phone lives in the tea and coffee cupboard. It doesn't come out until after you've eaten your breakfast and you're ready and dressed for the day. There's habits that I've got that she's now
Mm.
following. So this pad of paper can be a life changer.
Mm.
So I would highly recommend people start to think about that. I think we need to work out there are ways that you can turn towards the technology and use the tech to improve your relationship with it. So things like using flight mode, using do not disturb, but maybe having certain numbers that you still want to be able to contact you in an emergency, like a
Mm.
partner or a parent or a school or whatever.
Mm.
Um, Turning off your notifications, cleaning up your phone. So all those apps that pull you in maybe aren't even on the phone anymore. They're only accessible on the laptop, or they're not on the home screen and the notifications aren't going off. Um, Starting to use your screen time features in your phone, which everybody's got now. How long was I on my phone today? What was I doing?
Yeah.
Setting yourself limits through the screen time features, which you can do as well. I do like to recommend to people if there's apps that are a bit junk foody and they make you feel rubbish, but you're on them all the time, take them off the phone altogether and put them on your laptop and
Mm.
bring real consciousness to sitting down and treating yourself for 20 minutes on social media in the evening or whatever the situation is. There's a feature called Stay Focused, which is a Google Chrome extension, and you can link it up to websites and set yourself a limit. So I only want to be on Instagram for 20 minutes tomorrow. I'm going to set myself a 20-minute limit. And after 20 minutes, which can be 5 minutes here and there or 20 minutes of a block, it locks you out. You can't get in again until tomorrow. So starting to understand, go into Google and ask, how can I improve? AI is amazing now. ChatGPT, how can I improve my relationship with my phone so I'm not distracted whenever I'm at home? It will tell you all the things that you can do because this stuff isn't complicated. We just need the knowledge to understand how to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think starting to try and slow down, try to pause a little bit, that knee jerk, a moment of boredom, a moment of irritation, they're triggers that drive us to our devices because we have negative thoughts, we have sadness, we have worry, we have stress, we have anxiety. We don't want to sit with that. It's horrible. We want to distract ourselves from it. So we go on the phone and taking a moment to recognize that and start to not allow yourself to look at the phone and maybe just sit for 5 minutes and feel that feeling and trying to understand that behavior a bit more. And this is where mindfulness meditation is brilliant because it helps you to pause and slow down. And I recommend mindfulness to everybody. There's a really good acronym that Gloria Mark is a researcher in California, and she's come up with this acronym for parents, how to guide your kids, and it's ESPRIT, ESPRIT. And I'll tell you really quickly what they all stand for.
Please. Yeah.
E is example setting. Think about
Mhm.
your own behavior. Your kids are going to copy you. What are you doing? Try and strive to bring consciousness and intention to your own digital habits. S is sleep. Sleep is so important. Do not let the technology get in the way of their sleep or your sleep. And that's where you get yourself an alarm clock. You have screen-free bedrooms. My daughter is not allowed her phone in her bedroom. She's not on social media, but even still, it's a habit that I want to form now. There's no phones in bedrooms. There's no tech in bedrooms. Sleep has got to be protected. And that comes into P, which is public viewing. Only view stuff in public. And that's to protect them when they might be looking at stuff that is inappropriate or having conversations with friends that could be upsetting or whatever. So encourage public viewing. And that's where, again, as adults, don't take your phone into the toilet. It might be the only time you get the chance to look at your phone, but try not to hide it. Don't demonize it. Be
Mhm.
open. This stuff helps me. It's part of my life. And I'm going to look at it now for 5 minutes and then I'm going to put it away. As my child, you do the same. It's adding to your life, your friendships, your homework, whatever the situation is. The next one is relationships. Be mindful of their relationships. When is the technology starting to have a negative impact, getting in the way, whether that's bullying or calling out, or they're not engaging with their friends through talking face to face, etc. I is instructional apps and programs. So this is where Gloria is saying not all tech's bad. A lot of people demonize the kids can't be on it. They can, well, they can, but think about what they're doing, what they're watching, how they're using it. Is it enhancing their creativity? Is it enhancing their relationships? Is it bringing
Mm.
them together as siblings? Be mindful of what they're
Yes.
doing. Don't demonize it.
Yes.
And the last
Yes.
one is T, which is time limits. And we started doing this a lot during lockdown. We needed the kids on the CBBS because we would have lost the plot otherwise. But we limit, and to be fair, it could have been an hour and a half of a block that they were sitting to watch it. But
Yeah.
limit the amount of time that
Still
you're on it
limited.
and limit the amount of time that they're on it. And it's that I remember my friend telling me, like back in Twickenham in the playground, right, time to go. And I get a tantrum and I'm like, why are they having a tantrum? And then my friend went, you've got to give them a 5-minute warning. Ah, so I started doing the 5-minute warning. And it's the same with the tech. Guys, 10
Hmm.
more minutes. Guys, 5 more minutes. You know
Mm.
how long they're going to be on it for. Give them a
Mm.
warning. And then
Mm.
it's a dead stop.
Yeah.
They might be finishing part of a game and you need to give them a couple of minutes to finish that
Yeah.
little chapter.
Yeah.
But so I find Esprit really helpful for parents. It covers off
Yes.
most of the things that I think are important.
Um, Laura, thank you. That is amazing. Thank you. And I'm writing this all down. And I know that people listening now or afterwards, that is super helpful. And do you know what I really love about you, Laura, is that I think what you're doing is, well, what you're doing is brilliant. But I think what really is brilliant about it is that you're not coming from a, well, we've just got so reliant on our technology now, and like you say, almost going into the demonizing it. And I loved how you talk about, no, it enhances and enables you to do things in your life, and that's what you're going to role model to your children. And I think as well, even just in this short time we've had together, I feel quite motivated to, yeah, I've got now some things that I can, do to, because
Exactly.
like I said, well, I even said I'll be like next to them, and I feel bad because I'm on my phone, even if I'm doing something for them. So I hide it. But actually, no, because also, even if they see, which they will, because they're not stupid, then it's, oh, is it naughty? Or
Yeah,
should they
exactly.
feel
Yeah.
guilty?
Yeah.
But also just doing that, the batch had, the time intervals, the, like you say, that the really simple things like flight mode, do not disturb. I love how you talked about, junk food apps almost, what is your guilty pleasure? And actually, yeah, not saying no, you should never have Daily Mail online or whatever if that's your guilty pleasure, but actually you have to be intentional in doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I
Yes.
think starting
Um,
those conversations, saying to the kids, if you get into the habit of batching, say there's two times in the day when you're with them that you're going to be intentionally on the phone, actioning stuff, checking stuff, whatever. Saying to them, guys, I've just got to do 10 minutes on the phone now, and starting to make that a thing where they're like,
mm,
oh, mummy's adminning now. Fine.
yeah,
So then whenever they
yeah,
get to the point, it's like, right, do you want to do your 10 minutes with your friends on your phone now? It's part of the way that we're
yes.
existing around our technology because it's so amazing and integral to our lives, but we've got
Yeah,
to manage the way that we use it.
I love it. I really love that, and the healthy habits, because I think as well, and at the moment with our eldest, you know, if I let him, he would just be on the iPad all the time. And sometimes at weekends, he'll be like, Mummy, and I'll find myself, I'm like, Dylan, if you're going to ask me if you can go on iPad, like, you've literally just got out of bed, like, no. And
Yeah.
then I'll be like, oh, you're obsessed. You always just want to be on the screen. You always, and yeah, and also then I'll be like, okay, fine, you can have 20 minutes, but then I'll be doing something. So I'll end up, he has an hour or something. Do you
Yes.
know what I mean? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, you need to get off now because you've been on it for an hour. And it's like, well, yeah. So
But
anyway,
then, Kim, just to say, I think again, having those conversations with them to say, when the next opportunity arises, starting to normalize that. Isn't it so cool that you can do that on your iPad? But let's be
mm,
really mindful that we're still like doing our craft and we're still
yeah,
having our fun together and we're still kicking the ball or whatever and starting
yeah,
to get them thinking, oh,
yeah,
this is part of my life and I need to
yes,
work out how I'm going to make it part of my life because
yes,
we were never given that opportunity. We were literally just given
no,
all this stuff and we were like,
yeah,
oh, whereas we
yes,
can try and help them to
yeah. Oh, I
understand.
love that.
It's a
I
bit
love
like the
it.
food thing, Yeah, you can eat chips all day if you want, darling, but you're going to end up with spots, liver disease, heart disease. So let's not do that.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
have
How
chips on
can
a
we
Friday
support and
night
make the right healthy
and get them
choices? Yeah,
thinking about why are we doing it this way and why do I
yeah,
want to live this way? And
yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone. So thank you so much. This is such a valuable session. Two things I'd like to ask you before you leave, Laura. The first is how do you show yourself kindness? I'm asking all of our speakers this today.
oh,
How do
that's
you show
interesting.
yourself
Well,
kindness?
yesterday I decided to show myself some kindness because having launched now on my own, my overwhelm is getting double, double, double overwhelm. And being on my own, you know what it's like. I want this to be a success, and I get carried away. So I've sought out a business coach. And I had a brilliant conversation with the girl yesterday, and I'm very excited. So I'm recognizing that I'm human and I've got limitations, and what I do is really amazing and I'm really good at it, but I've got to look after myself. So I'm seeking some external support. And that's really big kindness to me.
Mhm.
Day to day, I have a coffee in bed every morning and I aim to go for a walk on my own with no phone every day. Since relocating from Twickenham, it was a brilliant habit for me back then, but not as much now. But yeah, getting out there and leaving that phone behind is really invaluable.
Yeah. Thank you. Those are brilliant ones. And, big fan of coaching. So that's awesome to
Yeah.
hear. And finally, so how obviously and I love, you're not on social media. So if people are wanting to find out more about you, connect with you, have a chat, what's the best way for them to do that, Laura?
So the website is it's a very interesting name. It's laura-willis.com. It's the only way to go.
One and
So if
only.
people just go onto the website, they can find out a
Yeah.
little bit more about me. And I'm Laura at laura-willis.com. I'm supporting people, the stuff we've been talking about today, in their personal worlds, but the majority of my work really is about workplace behavior. And that's still where I get most of my interest from, because businesses want to support their people to use technology in a sustainable way at work and not get
Yeah.
overwhelmed, not get distracted, and not be overloaded, not burning out, etc. But there are two areas that I'm really focusing in on. So if anybody wants to talk to me about anything, oh, and I've just finalized the show reel. I don't know if I was telling you about this whenever we spoke, but I worked on pulling together all my content of me talking, and I've developed a 2-minute show reel. And oh my God, Kim, see watching yourself back. Oh, but anyway,
Oh,
it's
it's
out
like this, and
there.
then you hear like your voice like
Your voice, meh, 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 like a fish wife. But that's going to go on the website as well.
Oh, okay,
And
amazing.
yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch, please do.
Okay, brilliant. Well, like I say, after today, I am going to share out all of the contact details of all of the speakers. So I'll share that. And also, I can either point people directly to the website, or if you wanted to share the show reel, whichever works. But thank you so much for taking the time to join. And like I say, I've written loads of notes, and I'm like, okay, Esprit, example setting, sleep, public viewing, relationships, instructional apps, time limits. Yes.
Brilliant. Well done,
Got it.
you.
That's brilliant.
Have a
Well,
fab day.
thank
I hope it
you.
goes really well.
Thanks so much, Laura. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
Kim.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.